Alright, so how's everybody doing? So this video it's not hockey. I sometimes do this for the podcast, especially when the weather's good. I'll just come out here and sit with the dogs. There's Ellie. Where is she? There she is. And they just kind of hang out. There's Ellie, there's Fluffy, and on those flowers that are kind of getting a little ragged now because summer's ending. That's where Sonia is. That's where Sonia is laying down resting. And this is how they would always lay, and Sonia would be in the middle, and not much has changed. So the purpose of this video, I don't know how long it's going to be. It's not hockey. I'm not talking about the Panthers. You see the title. You guys know I'm writing the book, and I wouldn't say I have writer's block or I'm stuck, but what I have outlined is about 15 to maybe 16 chapters, and I'm just about done with chapter 12, but it's been really slow going the last few weeks, and so I thought that because I'm at the point of the book where I'm basically talking about the channel. The book starts when I'm 7 years old, and now I'm in the last few chapters. And so I thought, it serves two purposes. Number one, a lot of times, what noise was that, Fluffy? A lot of times on the podcast, I'll remember a story, and that's something that needs to be added to the book. And so I just kind of thought if I came out here and just told the story verbally from start to where we are now with the channel, I thought maybe that would help trigger me to finish the last 3 chapters quick, because when I'm sitting down and I'm writing and I'm motivated, I can easily knock out 3 or 4 chapters in a week. And we've only got basically a few days now till camp opens, so I'd like to get a few of these chapters wrapped up here in the next few days, so I've only got maybe 1 or 2 left by the time camp opens. I don't know if I can get the whole book together with the pictures and the artwork and all of that by the opening day of the season, but certainly it will be available for sale for Christmas. That barring something unforeseen is a guarantee. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll come out here and I'll just record the podcast and talking with them. And sometimes, like some of you know, I'll just walk my circles in the yard. And just a lot of times that's where the intro ideas come, especially in the earlier days. I think he's burping or his stomach is gurgling or something over here. He's not too lively today. I don't think he's really feeling 100%. Either that or he's just ornery that we haven't gotten to the river today. But, so the idea is just come out here, sit down, and I'm just going to chronologically go over, what's going on with the channel, what was going on with me, the reasons why I did certain things. The name of the book, originally, as I'm watching, I'm easily distracted while I'm out here. There's a hornet's nest around here somewhere, and I don't know where it is. But I keep seeing hornets flying to that tree, to this one here, right here in the yard. And they're going up there to those leaves. But then, see, there goes one. And then they're flying back, and they're flying back over into that direction. And I've been watching it happen for the last few weeks. And it's, first it was 1 hornet, then it's 3, now it's 5, 6 hornets I'm seeing on any given day. And I ain't gonna worry about it too much because we've had hornets' nests out here before in the summer, and by the time you get to mid-October, they've abandoned the nests and they move on wherever the hell they go for the winter. Probably my attic. So, hey, let's see if we can get the dogs to have some action. Fluffy, Biker, Fluffy, get him. There we go, go. Look, there's a bike. Get him. Go get him. There you go. There you go. Do something. There we go. Get something going. Get some exercise. Yeah, you got him. You scared him away. Good job. I gotta test him every once in a while, you know. He's over 10 years old now, so I gotta test his ability to jump up when I say go get him, and that's pretty good. He jumped up. He took a little hop over the rock there. Good job, buddy. You still got it, huh? He's gonna come right back to this dirt spot. Good job. Good boy, huh? All right, yeah, good job. All right, go ahead and lay back down, okay? I know, you got a tough life. I know, buddy, I know. Okay, good boy. So, all right, so let's just start at the start and see how this goes. So, you know what's funny is when I started the channel in 2016, a couple days before Halloween 2016. So up to that point, and look, I was not into certain things. I had a very busy life. I had the kids, I had eBay, I had the dogs, and to be honest with you, the only videos that I had watched on YouTube up to that point were Lucas Rats on the Ice, because I had seen him on Twitter. And when I say the only videos, I don't mean the only hockey videos. I mean the only time I'd even gone to YouTube was to watch his videos, and most of the time I would just click on Twitter and watch it from there. So I knew he did videos, but when I started the channel, I was completely obliviously unaware that there was, I didn't know what content was, I didn't know what a creator was, I didn't know that there were, you know, people that had, you know, tens or hundreds of thousands of subscribers and were making, I was just not aware. It wasn't part of my life. And what had happened was I had joined Twitter and slowly but surely, you know, met people, etc., built the following, whatever, and you know, when the summer of analytics came, that summer I just kept saying maybe I should, you know, maybe I should make a channel and bitch about it. And Jeff and Lucas were the two guys who were like, yeah, do it. And you know, of course, we trade Gabranson, we trade Kulikov, and all of that. And it was a 3-0 loss to the Buffalo Sabres a few days before Halloween that finally triggered me. And I had been talking to my friends on Twitter, and I think we had lost 3 in a row at that point. And I think after we lost the second game, I think I said, if we lose again, I'm going to do it. And so we lost 3-0, and I said, okay, I got to do this. So, I mean, just no clue. And it's very funny because it is the same way that I started eBay, which was no clue. I mean, back when I started eBay in 1999, if you had a digital camera and knew how to upload pictures to get them to your listings, you were in like the top 5% of knowledgeable people. You just couldn't figure out how to do it, or the camera was too expensive. It was just all new. And when I started this channel, I mean, for freaking hell, you know, a lot of you have watched the first video. I went into the back of the van and I took my one Panthers flag that I had and I hung it up on the, he's getting attacked by a horsefly. He's gone now, buddy. But yeah, it's tough on him because when he gets into the shade, the horseflies will bother him, and so he has to lay in the sun, which is not his optimal thing. So I had, you know, I grabbed this flag, I hung it up in the van, and all I had to record with was this old Surface Pro. Well, it's old now. It was only, you know, it was maybe 4 years old when I used this. It wasn't that old. But I just put it on the floor. I didn't even like put it on top of a box so that it would be even with my head and I could look at the camera. If you watch almost the first year, maybe even almost to 2 years, at least the first year of my videos, it's all on this Surface Pro, and I'm looking down at the camera, and it just never. And what's funny is, like, nowadays, if I screw something up or I make a mistake, I'll get suggestions all the time, which is fine. That's not a complaint. I want that feedback because, you know, we all have blind spots when we're looking at ourselves. But nobody ever once in the year and a half, nobody ever said, hey, Jaws, why don't you, like, put that Surface Pro on a box or a stand so that you're even with it and not looking down. Nobody ever, no, not one comment ever, because it just never crossed my mind to do it. So, you know, so I start the channel after that 3-0 loss to Buffalo, and I kind of went after the owners and everything like that. I don't think I cursed. I might have dropped an F-bomb. I don't remember. But video got really good reaction. Now, I didn't get a lot of views, right? You know, it maybe in the first few days had 60 or 80 views or whatever. But the reaction from the people that knew me on Twitter, it was 100% positive, including some people now who completely dislike me because they found out my politics and all of that crap. Even the people that hate me now liked that first video. So it was a good experience, especially considering how bad it was. Nobody, not one person was like, this video quality sucks and what are you doing in your van? Nobody said anything negative about it at all. Which if you think about what the internet is now today, that's not a minor miracle, that's a major miracle. You can't put anything out. I talked about it the other day with I can't tell you how many negative comments I get on the videos with the dogs about how they're mistreated for whatever reason. So I did that video, and then I did a few more videos, and then Gallant got fired. And then we did that skit where we did the play on, you know, because we had had that 12-game winning streak the year before. So we did this skit where I was getting fired from the channel, and then I was like, well, I took you on a 12-day vacation. And so that skit did really, you know, not views-wise, but again, the response was good. And so, you know, at that point, I'd been doing it for about a month. And for those of you who've only been around, whether it be my channel or Panthers fans or Panthers Twitter or whatever for the last, say, 3 or 4 years, back then, Twitter was a completely different planet. Doug Sifu, Matt Caldwell, a couple other people, they were there on Twitter engaging with the fans, especially Doug Sifu. He was engaging with the fans like you would expect me to engage with a Boston fan. It was just back and forth and arguing and sarcasm and being salty, and you know, he participated. So it wasn't a matter of like I would say something nasty and somebody would say you got to have respect for the owners. Everybody was doing it, and Sifu would even make a lot of comments about, hey, that his wife would tell him, stop fighting with the fans on the internet. And eventually he did. Eventually he calmed that down. But when when that summer went down with the trades and everything like that, there were more than a few exchanges. And in fact, how I got a lot of Twitter followers, this was on my old Jawsaholic account. It's a different account. When Gallant got fired, and if you remember, you know, the picture of him with the cab was all over social media. And the Panthers were just quiet. Nobody could get the Panthers to even make a statement. And I tweeted something before I went to bed, basically, you know, criticizing the team for, you know, I don't even remember what I said, but I know I was being critical of the team. I woke up to kind of like the Kachuk trade. I woke up to a different level of notoriety because the first statement at all, the first thing at all that the organization or anybody with the organization said about Gallant's firing was the response to my tweet where Sifu retweeted me and basically said, do you think we'd really just make him go get a cab? We had called him a car, and he refused it, and he wanted to get a cab. So that was a crazy day because, you know, that was everybody jumped on that tweet because it was the first thing that the Panthers had said. So it was a completely different, and it was a lot more fun. It was a lot more enjoyable. It was so different. Every once in a while, you'll hear me pause to take a sip of water. It was such a different environment, even because, like, I mean, Doug Seifert and I would fight back and forth. But then we would private message. We DM'd a couple of times, and he'd be like, "Hey man, it's all good. I understand the passion. I like the passion. You know, there was no hard feelings. You know what I mean?" And with guys, it's usually that way. You can usually have a fight with your brother, and they'll be like, "No man, I get it. That's how you feel. This is how I feel. We had a fight. Whatever. Let's go to the game now. It's over, right?" So it was a completely different time. And so I kept doing, you know, I kept doing the videos, obviously. And what never crossed my mind, especially back then, I didn't really care about views. I didn't care about subscribers. I mean, I was happy when people watched the videos. But generally speaking, you know, it would be somewhere between 50 to 75 views. Right? It wasn't anything, you know, spectacular. And, you know, slowly I'd get a subscriber here, a subscriber there, whatever it is. But there was no thought of monetization or anything like that. It was 100% my creative outlet. I did all the skits. And then we started getting into year 2 and 3. And it was a lot of good and a lot of bad. Now, I got a new camera, and I didn't know how to use it. And so there's a portion of my videos where it's after the Surface Pro, so you can tell I'm no longer looking down at the camera. I'm looking straight at the camera. But whether or not it was the camera, the lighting, I don't know, because there was so much red, like the red jacket I would wear and the red flag, that the whole video would have like a red tint to it. And I just never would fix it. I never looked at it and fixed it, right? So, you know, because like in your editing program, you could easily fix that. I just never did, right? It's weird. The things I wasn't worried about it. All I cared about was being creative, having fun with the intro, and having my say about the team. And especially year 2 and year 3, if you go back, especially before the puppets, and in fact, this is how the puppets came to be. If you go back and watch those recaps, you'll see intros that's a lot of editing, and they're maybe, you know, 30 seconds, 45 seconds, maybe a minute, and there's a lot of editing and voiceovers and things like that. And, you know, I was doing well financially, you know, I was still married. My ex made money. I made good money. We had the eBay and Amazon. We were fine financially. So I could take 2 hours and edit up a 30-second intro for a hockey video that only 75 people were going to watch. You know what I mean? And I did it for the people that were watching. I was never doing it for, I need more people. I need more subscribers. I need more views. That didn't, I mean, every once in a while, like if a video did really bad, it would kind of be like, I thought that would do better. And certainly by year 2, year 3, I started to wonder, you know, because by year 3, it was pretty much the same 75 people, right? So after about the 3rd year, I kind of started to think, okay, well, is this ever gonna be anything else? And I didn't have any pressure for it to be anything else. I didn't have any need for it to be, you know, monetized or anything like that. And it showed, because, you know, the 2nd year I did not do all the games. And then I believe it was either the 3rd or the 4th year where I was doing just about all of the games. And then something happened in January. It's weird. Yeah, I remember what it was. It's weird how life hits you. And I put a video out. In fact, it was the intro to one of the recaps. we were at the beach, and it was me and all 3 dogs, and Kyle was there as well. And it was middle of winter, and everything had completely solidly frozen up to the point where there's an island not far from the beach. By not far, I mean maybe, 30 yards, maybe 20, 30 yards. It's just a little narrow inlet. Maybe a little bit longer than that, but maybe 50 yards. But it was all frozen up. So long story short, we're there on the beach with the dogs, and 3 foxes ran from the island, and they ran on the ice, which is normally the water, right? And they're running way, way over to the other side, and the dogs took off after them, and I had to chase them. And because it was ice and I couldn't really run on the ice, I had to run through like these horny brush, and I got all cut up, and they scared the shit out of me, but it was okay. And so I took that night off because I had cuts all over my face, and I was just wiped mentally. And that turned into like 20 or 25 games off. And now I remember which season it was. That turned into like 20 to 25 games off. And if you remember, this is during the Bugner years. If you remember the year, there was the 96 points and didn't get in. And remember, we like went on this crazy run. Like it was like 20-5 or something like that. Those were the games that I missed, that I wasn't doing the recaps. The team's explosion of doing well that year directly coincided with this day that I got cut up and decided to stop doing the videos for a little while. So I ended up staying away longer because, well, they're winning. I don't want to come back now because they started winning as soon as I left. But once they started losing a couple of games, then I came back and finished the year. 96 points, we didn't get in. Okay. And then the following year was the bad Bugner year. And again, very, very inconsistent with the videos. If I didn't want to do it, I just didn't do it. And, there wasn't any reason in my mind then that I should do it any differently. Nobody complained if I missed a video. There was one person, and this is not a complaint, I'm actually going to give him credit. There was one person, Jeff Main. He runs, or is part of, I'm not sure if he runs it or if he's an admin to one of the Florida Panthers groups. Yeah, I think it's his group, or anyway. It was when I was starting to post the videos, and I forget what the situation was. I think it was something to the effect of where I was asking permission if I could post the videos or whatever it was. And this was direct message. This wasn't public. But he said to me, if you're going to do the videos and you're going to post them, just do me a favor and do them all. And I was like, oh, I never really thought of it that way. I never thought of it from the other person's, from the viewer's point of view, of like how now, like if you're a Tom Grossi fan, you understand, you expect, right? I mean, he surprises us a lot with videos that we weren't expecting. But what if he just randomly, Packer game, I don't feel like doing it today. Everybody be like, what? So I never really looked at it from the viewer's perspective. It was just my hobby. I was just doing my thing, and whoever liked it, liked it. It never crossed my mind that it might be a little bit irritating, or it might be a reason why I don't get the views or the growth, that because I'm so inconsistent when making the videos. So then we got to the pandemic year. And that was the 2019 to 2020, right? I want to make sure that I'm getting this right here. Because, yeah, COVID started in the beginning of 2020. So so it would have been the 19 to 20 season. So going into that year, a couple things changed. I gotten the divorce. I had oh, wait a minute, hold on a second, time out, pause for station identification, because I'm leaving out a huge piece. So let's back up a second. The 18 to 19 season, yeah. Now that year, I believe it was during that season that Jeff Maine must have made that comment to me. Now that was a tough year. That was the year, basically, my ex-wife moved out and I got the divorce, and I met Karen and she moved in, and I got the Lyme disease and I was really, really sick. And so I know that I was missing videos then. I was not able to do what I had previously done. But the good thing that happened that helped me out was I didn't have the time, the energy anymore, because I had to do a lot more work because it was just my income. Karen had her own money to take care of her own stuff. So I couldn't do the 2 hours of editing for a 30-second intro anymore. And so I don't remember exactly how it happened, but basically that's how the puppet intro started. Because I could come out here, I didn't have an intro. If I didn't have an idea for an intro, I could come out here, walk around for 15 minutes, get an idea for one of the puppets to do something, and go in there and record it, and it would take me a minute. And, I was able to continue to do what I was doing. But that was the year that I got the Lyme disease, and I was missing videos because I was sick and had a migraine and blah, 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 blah. And, I missed so much and had to post so many times that I'm missing stuff because I'm sick. I got sick of myself doing it. So I'm trying to move the camera around because I know that wind is... Let me put my back here a little bit this way. Okay, I got to block the wind with my back. What you doing, girl? Huh? She's got... You got to change positions? You need to get your water? Yeah, they're sore from the river. So that year, I didn't do all the video. I didn't do all the games again. And again, at that point, I'm at 500, maybe 600 subscribers. So there wasn't thought about monetization. There wasn't really anything that way. And then I quit. At some point in there, I quit. And I've quit a couple times. And the reason why I quit at this point was I was doing something different with Karen. Let's put it this way. Through her, I discovered that I have a gift of, let's just say, knowing things that I shouldn't know. And I was able to help some of her friends who needed to know things and, couldn't find this, couldn't find that, needed to know what to do. And I was able to help because whatever this gift is. And so Karen had always wanted to have like a spiritual type business like that with her significant other. And so the relationship being new, one thing leads to another, and the next thing I know, I'm not making the hockey videos anymore. And we had decided to try this business. And part of the business my part of it was I made videos every day. Every single day I was pumping out content, and it just was falling flat. Absolutely flat on its face. I think it was 12 months, 14 months. Now, I didn't quit the videos for that long, but in the space of time, it was about 12 or 14 months of everyday videos. And I mean, the channel just absolutely nothing. But what it did was it gave me I understood now, it gave me the work ethic that I needed to, okay, I need to work at this every day. I need to do this every day. Whatever I'm going to do, I need, like eBay. I always treated eBay the same way. I just did it every day. It wasn't a question. That's what I did, right? And so, and now that I had been sick and I had the divorce and finances weren't what they were, that's when I started to think about, okay, I think maybe I should make this YouTube channel and a part of my income. Maybe I should try to get monetized and see, you know, see what I can see if there's anything there. If I work at this, if I do this basically every day, even if I don't put out a video every day. And so I decided to do that. Excuse me. And then that's when the 19 to 20 season hit. And my goal, I didn't have a goal of how many subscribers, views, anything like that. My main goal for that season was I'm going to do every game. I was, no matter what, if I didn't feel good, whatever the case was, I'm going to do every game. I'm not going to miss a game. And then they shut it down for COVID. And now, what's interesting, much like the Tampa Bay Lightning Stanley Cup, what's interesting is every year, up to that point, somewhere between January, February, maybe into March, I would get so burnt out, and that's when I would start missing games. Well, right around the time when I really would have started to get burnt out, they shut everything down. And then it was just Cocoa Puffs, man. I'm trying to make, there was no games. I didn't know what to do. I hadn't been monetized yet, right? And all I knew was that, well, I needed to keep this in my front view mirror, so to speak, because I wanted to finish this. I needed to know that I could do all the games. And I mean, I don't know if the videos are still there on the channel or if I've made them public or private, but I did like a movie review and like a video on the Titanic. I was just trying all sorts of things because I still had no idea like how YouTube, in quotes, supposedly works, and we'll get to that a little bit. I did a music video. I just did all sorts of things. None of it really worked. It was still the same 75 people. it was no matter what I did, you know. If I made a great video or on the Panthers, or if I just made a video staring at a tree talking about a bucket of chicken, 75 people were going to watch the video. It just is what it was what it was. And so then of course they came back, and I finished that year. And around the play-ins, I started doing live streams around the play-ins, and that's when John from Hot Take Hockey rated my stream, and that got me over the edge to the thousand subscribers that I needed finally. So I started it right before Halloween of 2016. And whenever those play-ins were, that would have been, when was that? It was like summer of 2020, right? So that's how long it took to get to the 1,000 subscribers. And then, of course, once I was monetized, I had to apply and all of that. But once that happened, then my whole perspective changed. Now, what's happened since? Let me take a sip of water. So, what's happened since is most of it's not been planned. Now, when COVID hit the beginning of 2020, everything happened to me at once. The Amazon business, all of it happened at once. I don't want to make this too long, but I had a lot of credit, because I bought stuff to resell for a living. So I had numerous credit cards, $20,000, $25,000 limits, okay? I had never missed a payment. I'd never been late with a payment. But at the same exact time, in January, February of 2020, as COVID was starting to, be discovered, two things happened. And I'm not going to get conspiratorial, but I'm telling you, people in the know knew what was coming before it did. And I'll tell you why I know that. because even though I had not missed any payments ever, and I mean, I'm talking about, at that point, I had $2,500 a month in credit card payments. But I was making so much money on Amazon, I was just making the payments. You know, and sometimes I'd catch up, and generally speaking, what would happen would be my Christmas sales would pay off at least half of the stuff, and then, you know, rinse and repeat for the next year. Well, beginning of January, before I started making my January payments, before I started making payments that would pay things off because of how good the sales were in December, I started one by one, I started to get letters from my creditors that because, this is what they said, because my debt to income ratio was too high, despite the fact that I'd never missed a payment, what they all started to do was lower my credit limit to whatever my balance was. So if I had $25,000 worth of credit and my balance was $17,000, then they say now your limit is $17,000. So each time, the first one that did it, what that did was lowered my score because it hurt my debt to income ratio terribly. And then the next one did it, and then the next one did it, and that was it. I literally got bankrupted without missing a payment, and then at that point I said, well, I just filed bankruptcy. I didn't make any more payments. I did not take all the money I made that Christmas and pay it to the credit cards. I kept it because, number one, I'd been cut off from my capital, and then number two, we saw what was happening with COVID, and I said, I think I better be smart and save this money because I think we're going to need this to live on, and damned if I wasn't right. So that happened January, February 2020. Then they stopped making, you know, they stopped playing hockey, etc., etc. So by the time we came back after the play-ins and that was over and I was monetized, then I said, okay, now I need to turn this channel into some kind of income because I couldn't do it if it wasn't going to make money for me, because whatever time I had to make money doing whatever I was doing. I did not have the time to spend, you know, even if it's just doing the recaps. Forget about the reviews and the live streams. You know, the recap is an hour of prep before the game, between the intro and all of that, and then an hour after the game, right? You know, I always watch the games, but it's still a 5-hour block of time where I can't make any money. And to be honest, I do view it that way because before I was doing the recaps, every intermission I would actually go back to the computer and list things on eBay. I would block that time as time for work. So after the intermission, before the game, right up to the game, after the first period, after the second period, and right after the game, I would be right there at my computer listing. So I did have to turn that time into money. And boy, has that changed everything. Boy, did that change everything. Now, there's the good and the bad to that. There's the good and the bad to it. The good has been the channel has grown, but it's wonky with the growth. So what do I mean? Well, last year, because of the Kachuk trade and the dog shorts, I gained over 3,000 subscribers over the summer. Okay? This year, as of the filming of this video, I've lost 23 subscribers over the summer. Now, there is not worrying about things and letting things go, and then there's things like that'll drive you pretty much batshit crazy. Because I don't expect to grow 3,000 subscribers every year because we have a massive trade that I accidentally, on purposely predict because I try to pretend that I don't have the gift that I have. Are you following what I'm saying? That's why I don't expect that kind of growth every year. However, the oddity, the irony, who could have saw it coming that after my channel's most successful year from last year to now, the channel's most successful year, the team's most successful year, would have led to a grand total of losing 23 subscribers or whatever the number is in the summer following my most successful year. You can't make that up. You can't expect that. You can't anticipate that. All you can do is drive yourself crazy thinking about it. So once it became that the channel was monetized and I was trying to make money with it, it didn't change that I wanted to make the videos. It didn't change my enjoyment level. Or go get him. He's not popping up this time. He's not popping up now. It didn't change that. It just made it more important that I added more content. I do every game. I enlisted Kyle's help. And that's what happened last year. I've told this story before, but I'll tell it again. The 21 to 22 season was the first one where I was fully monetized for a full season. Oh boy, we're getting ready to have a party here. Pause for station identification. We've got female joggers. And I know it. Go get them! Go get them! There we go. Here we go. We're going to have a party now. We're going to have a party now. This is good. This is a good intermission. I needed an intermission to collect my thoughts about the rest of this video. Now at night, he'll stand out here and bark like that for 2 hours. You guys have heard him on the stream. You hear him outside barking. This is what he's doing. Barking at everything and everybody. They're jogging by. You didn't even run up to the fence, Ellie. Huh? You let your brother do all the work. He runs to that fence. If somebody pulls in at the driveway there, she'll run to that fence and he'll stand there. So he's got the front half of the yard, she's got the back half. So yeah, the 21-22 season went the way it went. Didn't have a tremendous amount of growth. But things were good. You know, views have never, I don't know if it's me, I don't know if it's the subject matter, but for the length of time I've been making the videos, not complaining about the number of views, but I'll give you an example. The football channel, I just started it, right? And I already have two videos, long form, not shorts. Like the video I put out about Brock Purdy 5 days ago has 4.7 thousand views. Now, some of my videos, they still only have the 50, 60, you know, whatever, right? But that 4.7 thousand view video, I mean, I only have like, it took like 5-6 years, I think, maybe more, before I even had a video hit 1,000 views on the hockey channel. Now, I know there's more football people than hockey, but what I'm getting to is what I realized at the beginning of last season was I'm not going to pay any bills based on views and ad revenue. That I knew for sure, because I went through the whole summer, and much like this summer, you know, you're going to have an occasional video that gets 500 or 700 views, but basically, you know, I'm going to get 300 views, and that's like $2, right? And I don't think you guys are interested in me putting out 50 videos a day at $2 a video so I can make the $100 a day I need to live. I don't think that's going to work. I'm fairly certain that won't work. So I got to the end of last summer, and it was over. I wrote a long whole letter to the channel, and I was going to post it. It was a long letter thanking you for all the years of support, and just saying, hey, look, you know, not complaining, but I can't do this. I have to get a job. I was going to have to get a job because I just knew, I mean, I can't you know, even a good video. If a video blows up and gets 1,000 views, which on my channel that's blowing up, it's $5, right? And so I was done. I was going to have to quit, and unfortunately that was hard, because I was going to have to quit because I wasn't making it work, and that was tough. And so I wrote this letter, and I didn't post it. And then, because this was only like 3 or 4 days before the season was going to start, and we had a live stream, and I don't remember exactly what happened or why I said what I said, but at some point during that live stream, now I had already talked to Kyle about it, but I wasn't sure because of my energy level and my health and everything. But just in the middle of that live stream, I just blurted out, yeah, we're live streaming every game. That's it. We're going to live stream every game. And because I knew that it was that or get a job. It was, I had waited as long as I could for the channel to blow up, in the sense of, like you see other hockey creators, they get, you know, 10, 20, 40,000 views. Like if I was getting 10,000 views a video, that's $50 a video, I would be rich. And that's not an exaggeration, because, well, rich being the perspective, right? But you add in the eBay income, yeah, if I was making $50 a video, I'd be rich comparatively. So it's not like some huge pipe dream, right? It's not like I need to be like Tom Grossi or the hockey guy or Steve Dangle to make a living doing it. But I had waited as long as I possibly could for it to even, it's never moved. Like, it's never moved past what it is this summer, which is basically, you know, 200, 300, maybe 500 or 600. So it was showing absolutely zero signs of progression. And what's interesting is I pretty much get the same number of views now in general with 7,000 subscribers that I did when I had 1,000. Yeah, it hasn't gone up that much. So I've had to just accept that those are the views I'm going to get for whatever reason. I can't go crazy figuring it out, and I'll talk to that in a second. But so I lost my train of thought there for a second. Boy, that's been happening a lot these last couple of weeks, losing my train of thought. So I decided, okay, we've got to stream these games. And at that point, I told Kyle, I said, look, if we could even make $20 a game, that would solve our financial problems. It's not like I need, you know, $1,000 a game, although I wouldn't turn it down. But the point was, is when I started, I was like, man, if we could just get, you know, a 5 and a 10 and a 10 here, that would make it so that we have money for food, because basically that's what I was consistently running about $400 to $500 a month short after the eBay, right? And so that was part of the frustration, was like, I couldn't even get, I mean, I can't get enough views now to make up that money. My AdSense revenue for views last month was $83. And I don't know if you've been to the grocery store lately, but that ain't even one trip that's going to feed us for a few days anymore. So ad revenue with views, it just wasn't doing it. So I made the decision, okay, we're going to stream. And I was really concerned, because you guys have watched me struggle with the Lyme disease and my energy level and all of that, and the migraines. But thank God it took off, and boy, did we make a lot more than $20 a game. I'm not even going to lie, and I can't thank you guys enough for that ever. And the other part to it is Kyle took to it like a fish to water, and so like, excuse me. So if I'm not feeling well, or if it's too late, he can run the stream and takes it and does a good job. And I think actually during the regular season, one of our best nights, super chat wise, was a night that he did it. So so that's worked. And yet now comes the fun part. I'll tell you a story. Because now this summer, in terms of the lack of growth, The lack of growth doesn't really necessarily irritate me all that much. The consistently losing subscribers. Like, we started at 7,032, and literally for all of June, July, August, and so far in September, I have been going back and forth between 7,005 and 7,012 subscribers. It hasn't gone below that, and it hasn't gone above that. I gain a few, I lose a few. I have no idea. I have zero clue what, you know, what, why. I just have no answers. And then I start the football channel, and the football channel, now a lot of you did subscribe, so I appreciate that very much. And it has helped. I think the football channel is at like 214 right now, so that's almost halfway to the 500 I need. 500 subscribers, I can at least take super chats. Because I've had a few people ask me on the Dolphin streams, hey, you can't take super chats. It's like, I got to bite the bullet and get that channel monetized as well. And so without monetization, I can't take super chats on the football channel. So I'm trying to get to 500. But I don't know if I am going to assume that it's the subject matter. But like I said, the Brock Purdy video has 4.7 thousand views. I've got another one with 1.5. I've got several more that are in that 400 to 800 range. And it took me 5-6 years before I even had one video that high on Flying Fluffy Hockey. It's crazy. Now, I don't know, I assume, sure, this is a product of I've learned a lot and I'm applying it, and that, you know, and there's more football fans and all that makes sense. But what I'm learning this week is, you guys have all probably seen it. There are a bunch of the YouTube people, a bunch of people that teach YouTube. Are going to teach this, you know, how to blow up your channel. And when you watch what they say, they tell you you have to watch for click-through rate, and you have to watch for all of these different analytics that will tell you if your video is going to do well, why it's doing well. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's all bullshit. Now, that's not disparaging those people, because I'm sure they've helped people. But I'm looking at my analytics on the football channel, and the videos based on what we are consistently told should be the reasons why videos do well. I have some of the worst performing videos on that channel, and they should be doing fantastic, and some of the better videos on there have some of the worst analytics. There's no rhyme or reason. It doesn't make any sense. And this is the part where it gets really, really difficult, not specifically for me, but for YouTube people in general. Because some people might be critical and say, don't worry about subscribers, don't worry about views, don't worry. Well, that's easy for somebody else to say. Now imagine if your job was, you're a chef, right? You're a chef. And you have to go into work every day, and you don't really know what the people want to eat. You don't know how, you know, it's really supposed to be seasoned, because it's a secret algorithm to the seasoning, and you have to just continue to cook and guess. And you cook a meal, and somebody might like it. Somebody says, ah, too much salt, too much pepper, too much this, not enough this. So you keep, you know, tweaking the recipe, but they won't tell you what they want. And then sometimes you cook a whole bunch of food, nobody shows up. Nobody shows up. And you're going to get paid based upon how many people eat your food and how much they like it. But they won't tell you. They won't tell you what they want. They won't tell you the seasonings. They keep making you. That's what doing YouTube is like. It's like, it's easy to say, don't worry about that stuff. But it's how I pay my bills, right? So how do you not, if you go to your job and you put in your 8 hours, you expect your check to be there. What YouTube is you go to your job, you put your 8 hours in, and maybe we'll pay you. We might not. We might close the shop. You know what I mean? And when I say maybe we'll pay you, I'm not talking about super chats. I'm talking about, ad revenue and views. And what I'm learning about views, and this is an important point, what I'm learning about views is it has nothing to do with any of you. It has nothing to do with any of you, because if ever I've complained about views on the channel or whatever, my diehard friends will say, hey, I always watch. It's not about that. I mean, I appreciate that you watch, but in terms of why YouTube is going to show your video to other people, we are told that it has to do a lot with how many people, the percentage of people that click on the video in those first 6 hours, 12 hours, 18 hours, the percentage of people that see your thumbnail and click on it. That's what we're told. But then when you look into the analytics, it's completely 100% random and bullshit. There is zero correlation, and I've spoken with a dozen or more other creators that all say the same thing. They've all experienced the same thing. There's zero correlation, or minimal at best correlation, between that click-through rate and how many more impressions your video is going to get. And I have a half dozen videos on right now on the football channel that prove it. I got videos doing things I've never seen videos do. Hey, I got one video more than one. I have multiple videos on that channel that got barely like 10 views in the first 12 to 24 hours, and then suddenly just took off after that. And based on what we're told, that's not the way it's supposed to work. And so the point to all of that is that I look back now and I see the changes, and how I approach the games and how I end up watching the games and everything. And there's a lot of benefit there, but it certainly has changed things a lot. And I'll be straight, there's still days when Kyle and I are like, man, remember when all we had to do was sell on eBay? You know what I mean? But that game has changed so much, because you have to have a consistent flow of capital to be able to sell online, because you spend $500 on product, you're going to make $3,000, but it might take you 4 months to make that $3,000. Meanwhile, you still got bills to pay, so every week or every few days, you got to have another $500 to spend on product, so you have that residual income. And that kind of capital, if you don't have other money coming in, well, you get it. It gets difficult. And so we're getting ready to start year 8. And it's been, 3 years straight now? 3? Let me see. Well, I know I did all of the games in 1920. 20 to 21, I think I might have missed a couple of games. Those late games are tough for me. And then last year, didn't miss any games technically because Kyle did the streams. Now I know that there's a few recaps I missed, and I think Stu and I missed the one review, but basically, I have figured out how to be consistent, and it's paid off, And I guess the last thing is just like, now I wonder what happens next. Everything has been unexpected. I didn't expect John from Hot Take Hockey to raid the channel and get me over that 1,000 mark. I didn't expect to go in there. I mean, that video with the Kachuk trade, I still can't stop laughing about it. Because, I mean, yes, I could couch it in such a way to say, look at me, I predicted it. But the truth is I went in there pissed off because people were talking about trading Anton Lundell, and that stuff about Kachuk just came out as an aside, as like, you know, I would make this trade. And sure as hell, you know, and then it happens, and that really was hugely responsible. That and the dog shorts was responsible for why, you know, at the start of last season, guys were like, whoa, man, you're at 6,000 subscribers. I'm like, yeah. So I gained more from Kachuk than I did from the playoff run. So I'm wondering what comes next, right? I've had 2 unexpected things come in that popped the channel, right? The Hot Take Hockey raid, unfortunately the Tom Grossi raid, that did get me like almost 200 subscribers, but I'm trying to convert those people to Flying Fluffy Football. And then, you know, the Kachuk thing. And I guess what I was hoping last year when I made the prediction that the Panthers would win the Cup, I didn't know what to expect. I know a lot of people had always said, hey man, if the Panthers ever get there, that's going to blow up the channel. It didn't. I mean, the streams were great, and it's massive amounts of super chats, and it was, I mean, that's fine. That was fantastic. If I make that much money every year and the channel never grows another inch, I'm fine. I'll be fine. But it didn't. It wasn't like I suddenly was getting thousands of subscribers. It didn't, in quotes, blow anything up. And that was kind of unexpected. I wouldn't say it was disappointing. I thought it would get a little bit bigger from that, but okay, whatever. I think this summer's the first time I've been surprised to the negative. This summer is definitely the first time I've been surprised to the negative, where, I mean, I haven't had a summer with less growth, even year one, right? Well, I couldn't have had less growth. I lost people. So I don't know if that's me. I don't know. I guess I'll find out at the start of the season. I do look, and I tell you, it makes you wonder things. Here's an example. Stu and I hadn't done anything all summer. Okay? You know, we've both had a long summer. His mom and everything. We come back and make the video. 50, 60 likes. Nobody downvoted it. Jeff left a huge super thanks. Everything's perfect. Everything's great. Everybody's happy that we're back. Do you know that I gained no subscribers from that video and lost a subscriber, which means somebody watched that video and clicked unsubscribe. Now, it doesn't seem like a big deal, and it isn't a big deal, but for my mental state of mind, I just look at it and I'm just like, well, why? Like, and not even like as a complaint, but just like for my own mental state of mind. I wish YouTube had a feature. Patreon does this. If somebody leaves your Patreon, they give you an exit interview. So you can say, I ran out of money, I'm no longer watching the content, whatever the reason is, you can give the reason why. I would love it if YouTube would do that. So that, because how I can't figure that out. You know, and I know it's just one person, but that's how the whole summer has been. Is I put out a hockey video, I lose a subscriber, and if you're not aware, in your analytics, it'll show you that yes, this person watched this video and then unsubscribed. So it makes you, what did I say something? Did I do something? Did somebody unsubscribe because we were talking about Stu's mom passing away. But it's been all summer where make a video and nobody new is subscribing, very rarely. And, one person, two people unsubscribe after watching the videos. That I can't figure out. I haven't had that the whole entire time I've had the channel. Like, there were times when I know I was stuck at like 755 subscribers for months. Nobody new was joining, but nobody was leaving. So it's stuff like that, when it's your income, right? It's like if at your job you walked into work one day and your boss was like, yeah, you were really shitty yesterday. And you're like, well, what did I do wrong? Well, I'm not going to tell you what you did. I'm not going to tell you what you did, but I didn't like it. You were shitty. It's like, well, what am I supposed to do with that information? Right? And now you're worried. Am I going to get fired? Am I doing the same thing again? What did I do? I don't know what I did. I don't know what the reason is. It'll drive you crazy, man. And when I talk to other creators, we all end up in the same boat until you really make it. By make it, I mean, when you're making, $200-300 a video on a consistent basis, I think you're in a comfortable place, you know what I mean? But until that, we all of us creators, we experience the same thing. We all have the same stories. And I guess the point is, this is the last thing, is like, it's just to give you all some perspective, not necessarily specifically to me, but like people will make fun of YouTubers when they make videos like this, or they make the videos that are, whether it's an apology video or I'm burnt out. And look, last thing I'll say, I have two autistic boys. I've raised 3 kids, the 2 boys with the daughter in the middle. I've been bankrupt twice. I've had dogs pass away. I've been divorced. My mother left when I was 3. I've had all of these things, and I'm going to tell you what. Figuring out and trying to make YouTube work has been by far the most stressful of all of those things. By far. Because you don't have the information that you need really to be successful. You just have to keep plugging away at it and hoping that you're getting it right. At least with your kids, well, if I do that, that's going to happen. If I do that, that's going to happen. With your spouse, you know what I mean? You know what's going to happen. YouTube has been by far the most stressful, most difficult, and yet most rewarding for the most part. eBay, might say, has still been more rewarding because I was able to raise 3 kids and have this house and everything all off of eBay. So that might, take the cake rewarding wise. But yeah, man, that's it. I talked long enough. I don't know. I was just out here and I was thinking about what should I do, and I wanted to put a video out, and then this idea came to me. And when I get an idea, that's what the intros are. When I get an idea, I can't function until I get that idea out of my head and into some sort of form, whether it be writing or video or whatever it is. Once I get an idea in my head, it has to happen, or I will just remain stuck on it. So I think later on today I'll sit back and listen to whatever the hell it is I just said, and I'm sure it will have done the job of getting me motivated, kick myself in the ass to finish this damn book. Because I'm almost there. I only got 3 or 4 more chapters left. In reality, they should be the easiest chapters because they're the recent stuff, the recent in the now. So they should be the easiest chapters to go and finish, but I just needed a little bit of motivation. So if you made it this long, I appreciate it, genuinely. That's it. So today is Saturday. We got plenty of football coming up tomorrow. And I'll see you back on the podcast on Monday.